welcome to Tech Talk, the Banker's video series looking at developments in the fintech world. I'm Joy Macknight, Technology Editor at The Banker, and in the studio with me is Danny Aranda, Managing Director of Europe at Ripple, which uses distributed ledger technology to improve cross-border payment settlement. Danny, thanks so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about Ripple and what it does?
Sure. We are an enterprise software company, and we create blockchain-based infrastructure for banks to do payments and settlement cross-border.
Okay, but how does that actually make the payment settlement more efficient?
Sure. So when you look at international payments today, they're somewhat not fit for purpose in terms of what the market is now demanding. Our whole view of the market is that the internet is changing a lot of things. And most fundamentally, it is changing the way that people do transactions, the way they do commerce, right? People are buying online. Also, their behaviors are changing. Things are expected to be more on demand. If I send you an email, I expect you to receive it instantly. So given those changes, we don't think that the financial infrastructure today has really caught up with that. And you've seen companies like PayPal come out that really create a wrapper around the current financial infrastructure to create kind of a simulated digital experience. But what we're trying to do with Ripple and with blockchain in general is really put internet infrastructure into the very heart of what the financial system is. And a lot of that has to do with just making systems more interoperable so that a payment coming from the UK can flow seamlessly and instantly to the US.
But it's supposedly blockchain it will help really reduce the cost of cross-border payments. How will it do that?
Well, the cost side is definitely one piece, so reconciliations between systems is a big headache today. But a part that we focus on a lot more with our clients when we're developing business cases and thinking about how it's going to contribute to the business case, it's overall about growth. It's about new revenue coming in. So to take a very concrete example here in the UK with payment systems, if you look at volumes flowing over traditional systems like BACS and CHAPS, with the introduction of faster payments, right, over a decade ago, the volumes over BACS and CHAPS stayed the same. But when you introduce this new low-value mechanism to do payments, that was a growth area. It was enabling new kinds of use cases, people just paying each other, things that they weren't able to do before. So we think that's where the growth is going to come from with these kind of capabilities as well. New kinds of use cases that previously weren't possible with that existing infrastructure, so new technology to enable those things.
Okay, and how are banks really engaging with Ripple?
Sure, so we work with about 90 banks around the world today. About 30 of them are doing transactions live, right, real money with each other. And that's really important. So this isn't just about experiments or POCs, this is really pushing this into production. And we have a number of banks that have gotten to that stage already. Santander here in the UK, National Bank of Abu Dhabi over in the Middle East, where they are using the technology on the back end of their systems to make money transfers internationally more efficient.
So what will it take actually for mass adoption of blockchain technology?
Sure. I think a crucial piece of our company is our focus. I think if you want to deliver a solution, it has to solve a really finite problem. And when you're a startup, when you're a new company with limited resources, that focus really, really matters. So we think to make this a reality, there has to be real solutions that can be deployed in production that solve real problems, and that requires honing in on kind of one specific area rather than being very, very broad about where this can be applied. Blockchain, I think, has been particularly challenged in that area because I think a lot of the market, the media as well, has really tried to see it as a panacea, right, that it's going to solve all these problems. But I think what has served us, at least us, very, very well, is to really hone in on one specific area, interbank cross-border payments, and try to improve some of the inefficiencies there.
Okay, and my last question is around, like, obviously blockchain sort of came to light as the technology that underpins Bitcoin.
Yes.
What is your prediction for the future of virtual currencies?
We're actually very bullish on digital currencies. So we recognize that there's a checkered past to some of how that was introduced to the public. But we certainly view digital currencies as a core use case, a core value proposition to blockchains, especially public blockchains. And the specific area that we're looking at digital currencies has to do with the whole domain that we're looking at in payments and settlement. So a test that we did last year with 12 Tier 1 and Tier 2 banks was to use a digital currency as a mechanism of transfer. So typically if banks want to transact with each other, they're going to open up accounts with each other. But here they're opening up a virtual account on a blockchain and moving digital currency to each other, which could reduce a lot of the overhang in terms of doing cross-border payments with each other.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming in today, Danny.
Terrific. Thank you for having me as well.